one of our stories that's been leading tonight. The SIU was appearing in Parliament. The Special Investigating Unit says the group CEO CEO André de Ruyter and Business Leadership South Africa could possibly face legal action. This after the former CEO, group CEO, commissioned a privately funded unauthorized intelligence gathering on Eskom without knowledge of relevant state authorities and the Utilities Board. SIU spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago joins us now for more on that. Good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. I know it's been a long day, but certainly you have with you what you're saying is an investigation that was not approved or authorized. How is this investigation firstly guiding you in your investigations in terms of its usefulness, and then we'll come to the repercussions thereof that would face those who were in charge at the time?
Good evening, Thabo, and to your viewers. We are saying to Parliament today that we have got two parts of this investigation. The one part deals with governance that we'll shelve and deal with later on. But the other one is we can't ignore the information that is in this report, because as the SIU, we have been investigating in Eskom for a while now, and most of the things that are in the report are related to the things that we already have a proclamation on. Therefore, if there is this information in this report that we can use to get to the bottom of some of the investigations that we are doing, we will use it, because we can't ignore it on the basis that it wasn't gathered, the governance around it is not correct.
Yeah, but is the evidence useful? I mean, is it something that certainly the SIU can use and follow quite significantly because of things, for example, like names of high-profile politicians that you can certainly follow? André de Ruyter in one of the interviews said there are names there, they are there, and certainly people can be prosecuted.
Yes, there are names, and that we have said to Parliament, or there are names in the report, but the problem with it is attached to it is allegations. Therefore, we've got, as a law enforcement agency, to prove whether the allegations that are in this report are there. I think the head of the Hawks today indicated something like, this is just names and allegations on a piece of paper. They were not even done under oath. Therefore, we have got to investigate, and only when we have got information and proof, evidence, can we then say, so-and-so has done this. But at the moment, we can't say that, because it will be just tarnishing the images of the people that are named in this report.
Yeah. So there was a sense also to say that the information that was gathered from this private investigation was already being used. I think one of the leaders in business who funded partly this investigation was saying even the president was mentioning this particular advancement in terms of investigation in his State of the Nation address, for example, saying we are already beginning to deal with corruption at Eskom because of the various investigations that we have been conducting. So how true is that fact that this information was already being used, for example, to close the taps and to deal with certain particular people at Eskom?
I don't agree with that statement. The president will have used information on the basis of the investigations that were happening. You must remember that some of the proclamations that we were having around Eskom were going as far back as 2018, and we have been investigating. We have been to Scopa so many times, indicating the issue of the sale of coal, that the mafias that are dealing with the coal issues. We have dealt with the issue of diesel sales. We have dealt with these issues of the people who did not declare their interest and so on. That information is there. Therefore, for it to resurface now in a report, it doesn't necessarily mean the president was using the report, because the president did not have the report. You must remember, we were here not so long ago, and nobody had that report. And we went and sourced that report, and then that is the first time we coming back to the Scopa to say, we have got the report now, we have gone through it, this is what we are doing about it. Therefore, for anybody to say that it was used before, it cannot be true.
Yeah. So then there's you, of course, look at contracts and how contracts, particularly I have got to do with state institutions and maybe private players, are constituted and whether they are governed right and so on and so forth. So what are the issues that are arising for you as far as the procurement of these investigative services? One would say, well, they didn't use a cent of Eskom. It was privately funded. Why is the SIU having issues with that?
Yeah, that is exactly a problem. That is number one problem. The first thing that we wanted to know is this investigation is about Eskom, which is a state institution. But we don't have any minutes anywhere of a board meeting where they discussed and approved that this be done, which then makes it an individual's initiative to do it. Two, they then go out there and get a private company that we don't even know how it was procured. That is the one part. But the second part is then money comes out of people or institutions outside of government who are now given an opportunity to gather information, and now they've got in their possession information of a state institution that is really important in this country, which is a national key point. We don't know what they are going to do with that information. And on all of those things are problematic because we cannot at any given time say any CEO can just go and get money somewhere and investigate their own organization without the authorization, because that information is very important for the security of our electricity in this country. What they are doing about it is problematic. For an example, Thabo, the contract that is signed, that we found, is signed between BLA and this George Fiver's company. Eskom is not even the signatory, but the investigation is about Eskom. And that in itself is a problem. Then this 6 months contract ends between BLA and this company. Then there are other unknown, faceless people who continue to fund. The question is, what is the need for them?
So one can then look at it and say, well, part of the problems would start with the fact that, I mean, the whole arrangement there at Eskom would have been problematic in the sense that even the CEO was not fully vetted. And there are issues around whether SSA was able to scrutinize André de Ruyter properly, and there were delays in terms of getting his security clearance. So, I mean, already he's there. He was exposed to sensitive information of a key point in the country, hence that continuation of even giving a private company to investigate.
But who is bringing this private company? It's the same person who has got access to all of those, according to what you have just said. But he is the only one who brought these people in and made sure that they get this information. It basically making it worse, unfortunately.
So it would mean, I mean, the people that need to be accountable for this would even go further than just André de Ruyter in terms of the maladministration.
No, definitely. We are now looking at what is it that we're going to do, because just imagine, BLA just gave this investigation 17.1 million, and then we don't know how much the other people, the other funders gave. Therefore, can somebody just give you money and say, we love you so much, go and investigate, we don't want anything in return? Those are the questions that we need to ask. From where we are sitting, we have been doing the investigation. You must remember, this report is done at the time where the SIU has already been investigating. We have already gotten meetings with the former CEO, and he doesn't mention this to us. He doesn't bring these issues that he has got to us so that we can investigate. Therefore, it brings a lot of problems to us to say, but what is it that does he not believe in what we do? Because we have got results that we can give to him and prove to the whole country that we are making headways in this matter.
Yeah. You got two hurdles from where I'm sitting, maybe more from where you're sitting, because you know better this, but my knowledge is quite limited. But from where I'm sitting, you have a hurdle one of following the money trail via a private security company. Not sure how you're going to be able to do that and what the legal implications are for that, for you to be able to then track how this money was channeled to the security company and who is responsible for channeling that money there, because it doesn't show anywhere on the books of Eskom. But two, you've also got a group CEO who's now in some academic school somewhere in the United States. How are you going to enforce any of the outcomes of your investigations on that matter?
From where we're sitting, we are looking at the issues. The idea is not to recover this money because Eskom has not paid the money, but we are saying the status of this report is such that it is not authorized, and that we have already made a ruling around. Therefore, we'll just have to get the information and put it out there. But also, there's an element that is dealt with by the Hawks, where they are also investigating this report, and they are saying if there's evidence that is attached to anybody that is in this report, we will take it further and make sure that whoever has done wrong suffers. But most of it, like I said, we already know because we did our own investigation. We are not relying completely on this report. We are just saying we cannot ignore it.
So what's the work that is...
And as far as Mr. de Ruyter is concerned,
yes.
We are looking at all the other options. We are saying what he has done, what are the options that are available to us, and we will then address all of those options and give them to the board of Eskom to take it further. Because at the end, we will have to give some kind of advice to the board to say what can be done to him for doing what he did.
Yeah. And in terms of then timelines of the work that you're doing based on whatever investigations you've been conducting before this particular report and the assistance that you are getting, or let me say not assistance but guidance that you are getting now from this report, what timelines are you looking at completing your work?
It is very difficult at Eskom because you remember we were investigating from 2018 and then there were other new matters that came up and there was a new proclamation in 2022. But as we said to Parliament today, we already have a lot of progress. There are matters that are already before the courts to the value of about 7.9 billion rand. We have already received recoveries of about 1.5 billion rand, and we have got set aside the contracts to the value of 10.2, which is basically contracts that the Eskom would have paid. We have already referred more than 5,600 people for disciplinary hearings, and they've started that process. Some of them have resigned, some have been fired, and so on. Therefore, there is a lot of progress that is already happening. We've got 160 referrals to the NPA for prosecution. You know about the cases of Tlhakudi and them that are already before the courts and all of that. Therefore, there is movement in as far as our investigation is concerned. Information in this report will just help here and there. But the bigger part of it is the work that we've already done, and we hope to finish it as soon as possible, unless there are no other things that will come up. Because when new matters come up, we cannot ignore them. We've got to then, if there's a need for us to alter the proclamation, we will do so to continue the investigation.
So we heard also coming out today that the officer appointed to address this high-level organized crime situation impacting Eskom is Brigadier Jaap Burger, and still did not appear before scope, and doesn't seem like he's going to do so anytime soon. How much is your work linked to him and certainly getting assistance from him in your investigations, and how does this affect your work?
It doesn't affect our work at all. The reason why he was supposed to appear is because Mr. de Ruyter had indicated that he was engaging with him in as far as the criminal side of things are concerned. Therefore, the police would then take up this matter. The Commissioner of Police was there. They will take up this matter and say, who, in the absence of Berger, who else is taking these matters forward? The Hawks have indicated that they are already following a lot of trails, and they will do that. But in as far as we are concerned, it doesn't affect us at all.
Speaking for the SIU, Kaizer Kganyago, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on as always.